Hello again everyone, Mary Rose here at Stitch Bliss Corner on the 29th of May 2019 for the final update on Maynia. I wasn't sure that I could do the progression for this final week, but I managed to do that, and there are a few more days after this one that I might get a few more stitches in on Harlequin, but we'll just have to see how that goes. It's very windy and blowy here today, so I don't think you'll hear the howling wind, but anyway. Anyway, so I think without any further ado, I will go to my progress. I might just do it right the way through from day one because it doesn't take that long, and anyone who's seen it before can just fast forward a little bit. So I'll see you back here when you've seen all my updates for the piece that I've stitched for Maynia. Good morning everyone, and welcome to the first day of Maynia. And there is my 20 count Ada all gridded out and ready to go, and we will see how far I get. I think excitement has reached fever pitch in the household this morning, and Harlequin's going to be on bread and water rations for a month. All right, we'll see how we go. Here is my work area. I've got all my cards gridded out with all the colours on there. There is my key for the colours I need. Then we go across here. That red dot is the centre of the design or the picture, and then it's on a metal board, so that's why it's got the magnets on it to hold my place. A whole lot of needles there, my tweezers, my snag nabbit, which of course I won't be needing, and the actual piece that I'm stitching, and we're pretty much ready to start. This table here, I can tilt it. I don't know if you can see that or not. And it tilts, and there's my little hoop there, and bits and bobs there over there in case I need them. And we're under starter's orders. I'll show you how much I've done by the end of stitching today. This is the end of day one. I start in the middle. I always start in the middle, and this is as far as I've got. So that's day one. End of day two, Maynia. And here's the picture. I've put it next to the stitching, and I'm just in this area here, and that's how far I've got in the 2 days. End of day three of Stitch Maynia, and I've had a great deal of enjoyment doing the confetti there. It's just all coming in all around here. It's just beautiful confetti, all different purples and reds, and just, it's just been so much fun. And the sleeve, Perot's sleeve there coming in. Yes, it's just been so enjoyable. So I've got to go to bed, unfortunately. But I shall be back at my chair tomorrow morning around 8 o'clock to continue on with the Maynia. Catch up with you tomorrow. End of day 4, and I'm starting to get his lower part of his arm in there. That's that bit there. It's just starting to come in, and the colours, I keep on about those colours, but really so yes, we're getting, and that's the edge of Perot's sleeve there coming in as well. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and I shall catch up with you then. This part just here, that's the part of his bat, that white stick there, and also the belt is coming in there. There's the belt. So there are quite exciting times there. I'll catch you tomorrow. Day 5. This is day 6, and tomorrow I'm intending to do an update, and I shall point things out more on him tomorrow. Maynia day 7. I'll talk to you shortly. This is the end of day 8. I did an update today, and I just thought I'd show you where I've got to since the update. And it's just this little area here. I've just gone above the belt to work up that way, but the stitches did the talking, and I ended up over here this evening. But I'm going to work my way across and up now. So that's my update for the 8th day of Maynia. I'll catch you tomorrow. Well, this is the end of day 9, and I'm just working up from the waist, going up, and I think that he's coming along rather nicely. End of day 10, and I'm working up towards the shoulder and the head, and I must say I like that little fold there where the buckle is in the material, and along here there's quite a bit of confetti in there, which gives it a nice shape there of the arm. Yes, and I shall catch up with you again tomorrow. Hello everyone, day 11 Maynia. Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. And yes, I've just put the picture next to the stitching today. As you can see, I've filled in those diamonds there, and everyone seems to be very enthusiastic about his belt, which is very nice. I quite like his belt as well. So that's as far as I've got to, and we will just see how much further I can get today. His head is up here, so we're not far away from that look he's got. I don't think he was that keen on being a model for his father, but that's another story altogether. So I'll catch you tomorrow. End of day 12. Just going across the top of his tunic there, filling that in a little bit more, and getting ever closer to the head, the harlequin. Catch you tomorrow. day 13. End of stitching, day 14, and I shall be catching up with you tomorrow for a little chat about where I'm up to, and I shall see you then. End of day 15, and the face is coming in. End of day 16. End of day 17, and there's his face, Linda. End of day 18, and just working on that rather magnificent hat. End of day 19 for the little fellow. End of day 20, and Perot's hat is coming in just there. I've just moved across. End of day 21, and I have done some of the background here. The top of the Harlequin's back, that's B-A-T-T-E, that was what they used to call the Harlequin stick. And I've done a little bit of Perot's, getting his face ready. But so that's the end of today, and then tomorrow I will do my update, and you'll see how far I've got, because I'll probably do a bit of stitching in the morning before I do my video for 3 weeks of Maynia. So I shall catch you a little bit later on tomorrow. End of day 22, and I've just started Perot's face here, and that noise is, if you can hear it, is the garbage truck going past. So that's the end of today's stitching. Catch you tomorrow. End of day 23, and there's more of Perot's face coming in and the hat there. 20 count Ada is magnificent to stitch on, which I haven't been mentioning, but it certainly is a very good fabric. I'm sorry this is wobbling around a bit, it's late in the evening. So I shall catch up with you later. End of day 24, and Perot's hat is coming along, and he has a face now. End of day 25, and I've just put the picture in for a comparison. There's the faces, and there are the faces. I've just done some more of the clown's face, and I'm just tossing up now whether to go up into the corner up here, just whether to do some curtains there, just so that Kelly Bell can see what the curtains look like. I think I'll be doing that. End of day 26, Maynia, and I've just done some of the curtain behind Harlequin's hat, and I'll probably be doing some more of that today. End of day 27. End of day 28, and I shall be talking to you a bit later on today. I think I got quite a way. I suppose it's around a quarter of the final piece that I've done. I think it's thumbs up well and truly for 20 count Ada. It's just small enough to show a good amount of detail without being laborious to stitch on, which is, you know, really nice. Even, good tension, strong fabric, just the job for a full coverage. Now I'd just like to thank all those who made comment about my Titanic comments in my last video that just popped into my head. I think one person was speaking about Southampton, where she lives and where her family comes from, and made mention of all the tragedy of the families of the workers who were aboard that ship, whose dear loved ones never came back, and the hardships that they went through, which I think probably tends to get overlooked just a little bit. So thank you very much for all those who comment anyway, but that really was interesting, the various you know, thoughts and opinions on that. Really quite interesting. Now, anyway, to get back to the stitching, I'll just show you where I'm up to now, which you would have seen earlier because I didn't get any more stitches in from my final video there that you've just seen. So I'll just show you that. So, yes, the background is coming in there, the curtain in the background, which I thought I'd just pop up there just to show Kelly, because she was interested in seeing the background curtain. And that's Kelly Bell. She's a marvellous Flosstuber. She has so many different interests and all of her videos are interesting. She's just showing, I've just watched her video, and she's going to be doing the forests of Sumatra. She's already done the dragons of Sumatra and did them fabulously, and it looks like her forests of Sumatra is going to be just as fabulous. So congratulations, Kelly, on your fabric dyes and your choices of colours and everything. Just marvellous. Anyway, so that's the background curtain there just coming in, and as you can see, there is an awful lot of confetti up there. Now, the thing with lots of confetti is that you're, naturally enough, each stitch is a different colour, so therefore something's got to give as far as your evenness of your stitches and everything. I suppose you could make it, you know, like a forensic piece of stitching, where if you're not happy with the evenness of each stitch, you take it out and start again and everything. But I think there is a kind of a balance that you have to have. I mean, stitching is not supposed to be, as far as I'm concerned, absolutely perfect stitches, because stitching is fascinating for the very reason that it's not perfect. That's, I mean, there are so many things you can get now that are perfect, you know. I mean, if you want perfection, you can just go and buy something that looks perfect, I guess. But in stitching, some of the character is that the stitches aren't perfect. That's the whole, well, it's not the whole point, but it's a good part of it anyway, as far as I'm concerned, that somebody, a fallible person with all sorts of you know, imperfections, expresses her or himself in their stitching. You know, it's sort of like a microcosm of life in some ways, stitching, that it's not perfect, and neither is anyone. Maybe that's some of the magic of stitching, that when you view your piece of work, you look at each section of it and you almost know the mood you were in that day that you were stitching. Some days you look at your stitching and your stitches, you're marveling because they just look so beautifully even and perfect. You can't even see across. You just see that little dot of colour and it just looks marvellous. And you think, how did those strands go in so perfectly? And yet the one next to it, you can see the two strands over the two strands of the cross. And even if you took it out 3 times, it'd still get the same result. It's the imprecise part of the whole thing. I don't know. Yeah. So, and when you're using lots of different colours, well, of course you're going to have a little bit of that. Unless, as I say, unless you want to sit there and labour yourself for hours on end, and then, you know, maybe you'll get a finish in, you know, 5 years if you keep that up. It's a balance of what you're happy with, and the result that you're getting. I mean, there have been times when I have stitched 4 or 5 stitches and thought, no, I'll have to take those out, because they're not sitting correctly for me. But that's not very often. I usually just move on, because the point is, even if you have one part of it that's absolutely perfect, you might put in a colour next to it that is a darker colour or catches the eye more, that the part that is perfect doesn't really get looked at. It's the bolder colour next to it that does get looked at. So I suppose what I'm saying this morning is, if you're not happy with your stitches, and you're thinking, oh, I should, you know, take out that 10 or 20 because I'm not happy, maybe you should just leave that just for, you know, a day or so, and stitch a bit more round it and see if you're still that concerned about the original stitches you've put in. Maybe that's just to have a bit more thought about it. Because the thing is, quite often too, if you're not using a hand-dyed fabric and you can wash your fabric, the stitches often set a lot better after they've been washed and pressed and everything. They seem to, you know, find their little spot on the fabric, their, you know, their position. And of course with Aida is made to shrink slightly around the stitches. It's the way it's manufactured, that when you wash it, the actual weft of the fabric, you know, shrinks a little bit. That's why I suppose when people hand dye Aida, they say that, you know, the holes aren't as big. Well, they're not, because they're designed to be that way. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So that's where I got to with my stitching, and I may continue with this. Well, I'll probably continue till the end of May working on this one, because it's sort of like a model stitch for my husband anyway. So I might keep doing that, and I might just swap out after May and do something else for a while. So I'll just see how I go. I'm wanting to do a little bit of painting and this and that over the next months, or, you know, a few months or so. So I don't know when my next video is going to be. You know, it might be in 3 weeks and it might be later than that. I'll just have to see how I go, because since I started Flosstube, I should hold that up a little bit. Since I started Flosstube, there are things that I've been sort of putting aside, that, and I really should be doing them. You know, Harlequin wants to do a bit of travel and this and that. So we'll just see how we go anyway. And there's the face of Perrault, which I think came through very nicely. Right, so anyway, that's my that's my Maynia stitching. I think that's all I have to say this time. So until next time, it's goodbye from Mary Rose at Stitch Bliss Corner. Happy stitching to everybody. Bye for now.